Hello there, my name's Lorne Riseley, reporting to you from the forest. F*** you, Cyril. And this is Defunct Games News, your weekly roundup of all the gaming news of the week. Coming up this week. Sega performs a successful babality on its Astro City unit. Back to the Future as Sony plans leak that bring their past games to the future cloud. And other highlights to come include Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is unveiled. The 1 week I could have used a crew. Instead it's just me here with Dave. Anyway, coming up first this week, viewers, it seems the gaming industry simply won't stop until it's taken every previous version of its consoles, made an adorable mini version of it, and then crammed it full of its greatest hits to resell to you, the general public. We've had the Mini Genesis, the Diddy Mega Drive, Teeny PS, and a preposterously small litter of baby Game Gear micros. And now we have Sega delivering the little bundle of joy that is the Sega Astro Mini. A miniaturized arcade unit that is a petite version of the 1993 Astro City, which itself was the successor of the Aero City, both of which you can still find in Japanese arcades today. Well, you could if not for the lockdown. And now we throw live to our Why Is This Important correspondent Cyril the Shell in the studio. Wait, he's in the studio and we're stuck out here in the rain.
Oh, hey Lorne, what's going on? I don't think I'm scheduled to file a report about the Astro City Mini. I think that's on you. Look, I hate to do this to you, but I'm super busy right now trying to finish up the 100th episode of Game Over the Early Years. So get back to work and finish the story.
Unfrickin' billet. Anyway, thank you very much, Cyril. The console will come preloaded with a selection of 36 Sega arcade games, and a few of the games confirmed are 1989's side-scrolling beat-em-up Golden Axe, 1990s shooter Alien Storm, 1992's fighting game Dark Edge, and of course 1993's Virtua Fighter. Sega claims that they've updated its design and the controls to make the Astro City Mini more responsive and dynamic. For instance, they state that the stick now uses proper micro switches, and there is a HDMI on the back, 2 USB-A ports, a micro USB port, a headphone jack, and best of all, a free subscription to Ninja's new YouTube channel. Of course I'm only kidding, there's no way Ninja's YouTube channel would be free. But the other stuff is indeed included, but you'll have to hold tight regarding powering the damn thing, as at the moment Sega have not revealed if it will have an inbuilt battery or not. The Astro City Mini is set for release in Japan towards the last quarter of the year, and estimates place the price between $110 and $130. One wonders what exactly next is set for miniaturization. Well, according to the comment section of these videos and Cyril himself, my freakishly large hands or my freakishly large penis will be at the top of that list. Does this look convincing, Dave? Anyway, on to remember this. We have an assortment of gaming, memebering delights for y'all. This week I thought it would be fun to take a look at some of the mistakes that games and gamers make. So let's take a look at some of the magical mistake memes that we found. Starting with, of course, number 1 here, which is an ode to the you done fucked up moments that NPCs sometimes make when they approach you stepping up all in your grill and that, you're OP as hell and you're fresh out of Paragon to give. The second one is probably one that I'm more familiar with than our esteemed viewers, if no other reason than I rarely come to a game on time or even remotely after release. And indeed, for those of you unfamiliar, the welcome you get in a game full of legendary weapon carrying, rage-induced, linguo-fluent, first day playing characters to a newbie like me, well, to put it in context, I imagine it's the same reception that Ninja would get at a Mixer leaving party. And finally, the third meme, because, well, who among us? Who among us hasn't committed the cardinal sin of just not buckling down and finishing a perfectly good game and instead going through a library of other games because they're on sale? I mean, come on, who among us? I mean, even I, at 70% off, would have to consider purchasing a Twilight tie-in game. You'd have to be insane to say no. Okay, we're done with the stories about publishers and developers exploiting their past libraries and past assets to make present gain. I'm glad we got that out of the system because I don't like rabbiting on about those kinds of stories. So let's move on, shall we? In fact, let me just consult my teleprompter over here because, of course, rain. What have we got here? We've got, second story. Sony has filed patents that would, in theory, allow backwards compatibility via the cloud gaming service PlayStation Now. Wow, really? Originally sourced by Ranker Schedule on Twitter, the patent was filed earlier this year and appears to display a PS1, PS2, and PS3 being emulated onto a separate screen via the wonder of cloud gaming, which would be presumably the aforementioned PlayStation Now. A rough translation of some of the text reads, a large number of game titles across PS1, 2, and 3, and various generations of game consoles can be stored and used via the cloud gaming library. These games can run on a virtual machine that mimics the operating system associated with each game console. Some have speculated that the virtualized operating system solution is a way of Sony getting around the tricky feat of building backwards compatibility technology into new hardware, and thus avoiding the expensive task of repurposing current or future consoles to enable gamers to replay their favorite titles from previous generations. I mean, just imagine it. Tekken 3, Crash Bandicoot 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, Need for Speed Underground 2, Dead Space, all in glorious hyperspeed glory on the PS5 and beyond. Isn't that just insane to think? Right up until the moment that you realise that Sony is selling it for the same price that it was brand new 15 years ago. Don't put it past them, we all know they do it. There are also other notes that seem to imply that users will be able to record and create mini-games from their gameplay sessions, which could be associated with the new DualSense controller's Create button that's not been fully explored by Sony in terms of the functionality's capabilities. Individual patent notes are included with images leaked in tandem with the tweets, but in the event that Sony manages to integrate this patent, as well as pulling off the feat of making its entire back catalogue available via PlayStation Now, no one could doubt that this would be a huge boost for the service. Not to mention this would edge Sony further ahead of Microsoft and Nintendo, with the next generation looming at the end of the year as one last hurrah of 2020, or as they say in Finland, the year of the slow-moving dickenpunchin'. And now, with my pockets full to the brim with England's finest rainwater, let's take a look back at the week that was Defunct Games. And fun story, we actually got some behind-the-scenes footage from Cyril making the infamously difficult to get up onto YouTube because of copyright bollocks, the 99th episode of Game Over. Let's take a look and see what Cyril was up to. Okay, that's a new side to Cyril I never thought I'd see before. We'll check in on him another time. At the time of recording, Cyril tells me that a new series called This Old Magazine is going to be debuting. So if it's not already debuted by the time this video goes up, be sure to keep an eye out for it.
Hello, I'm Cyril Lachelle. So why don't you grab a chair and join me for this debut episode of This Old Magazine.
If it has debuted by the time this video goes up, wasn't that brilliant? Says the corporate overlords here at Defunct Games. Oh God, it's running down a crack of my eye. Oh, hello there, welcome back. Well, finally this week, viewers, let's take a look at some of the stories that we had, didn't have enough time for, but in for a penny, in for a rain-soaked pound, am I right? Let's take a look at some fun stories this week, starting with a story of romance, charm, and phallic ears. Does someone want to explain to me why these things right here, those things that clearly look less like a lovable cartoon character and more like the morning glory out of focus, ever made it out of QA testing without someone sticking their hand up to suggest maybe we give the circle a face? To draw attention away from the officially licensed dick-laden diamond ring we're peddling here. Wonders will truly never cease, but happy coincidence, I now know what I'm buying Ninja for Christmas this year.
These nuts.
Mark Hoppus of Blink-182 made a stir this week. Mark Hoppus, you know him, he's the one in Blink-182 that isn't insane. Yes, indeed, Mark Hoppus took to social media to spread some joy this week as he used the guitar minigame in The Last of Us 2 to perform an acoustic version of the 1997 song Damn It. And yeah, he may have forgotten some of the words towards the end, but it was in the 90s when he made the song, so he gets a pass on this one, and it's fun. Let's just have some fun for a change.
Nice.
A new Test Drive Unlimited game has been announced, and with the game's heritage, this one could be interesting to keep an eye on. Kyloton's eagerly anticipated all-new Test Drive Unlimited's official reveal trailer has dropped, with Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown debuting during the week's Nacon Connect showcase. And while few details were revealed, Alan Jarneau, who worked on both previous games, is utilizing the framework and handling model from WRC8, and the game features a one-to-one recreation of an as-yet unspecified locale. Not to mention dope-ass, high-class rides from the usual suspects of Ferrari, Bugatti, and Lamborghini. The original Test Drive Unlimited was an open-world racing game developed by Eden Games and published by Atari, and it featured over 125 licensed sports cars and motorcycles, and a terrain modelled after the Hawaiian island of Oahu that featured some 1,000 miles of roads and highways, not to mention a bunch of online mechanics that made it super ambitious for its time, and all the more reason, as I said, to keep an eye on this one. Great news, everyone! We have prayed, and thy will has been done. Ninja has made his way to YouTube, albeit temporarily. He has graced us with thy presence. Of course he's not committed to YouTube full-time as of yet. Why would he? He has no exclusive contract to milk. But he streamed live last week on YouTube for the first time ever while he weighs up the impossible decision of where to go to make even more copious amounts of money. Which means that actually for the first time in his career, Ninja, you know, this guy with the blue hair, is shrouded in mystery, much like an actual ninja. You know, these guys, the stealth-based martial arts clan of warriors from Japan that he spent so much time ripping off of the name of that you can't Google his name without seeing him for the first 52 million pages before you get to an actual ninja.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
And finally this week, a request, nay, a plea. Not to our sexy beast masters of awesomeness viewers that you all are. I know you're a good lot. You're our viewers. We like you. This goes out to gamers everywhere and people that just need to be told this. Stop being twats to game developers for not making game stories exactly the way you wanted them to be. We of course refer to the rocket scientists that refused to distinguish fiction from real life and took time this week to send death threats not only to the director of The Last of Us Part 2, Neil Druckmann, but to voice actress Laura Bailey, who portrays in-game character Abby for something her character, let me repeat, her character did in the game. No, not in real life, in a fictitious world where people's heads are mushrooms, yet somehow not minions to King Bowser. Very much something the actress was portraying because it's her job to do it. To summarize, games, not real. Actors, actresses, directors, doing their job. You, gamers and people sending death threats, stop being Clear? Well, wasn't that fun for this week? I'm going to get the hell out of here now because Cyril has warned me that there are raccoons and bears on site, so yes, I might want to get a move on. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching this edition of Defunct Games News. My name's been Lorne Riseley. Be sure to check out all of the news on the Discord and on the servers and games reviews and everything that Cyril had in plan for you this week. I'm getting out of here now, and yeah, bye. How do I get out of here?
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Defunct Games News. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that Lorne returns every Sunday for a new episode. Well, except for next Sunday, but more on that later. Now, here's the question I have for you. What old school console do you want to see miniaturized? I mean, we've already seen the 16-bit stuff like the Genesis and Super Nintendo, but what about the Saturn, the Dreamcast, or I don't know, maybe even the Lynx? Come on, you coward, show the Lynx some love. Alright, let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, this week we'll bring the 100th episode of Game Over, the early years, and it's gonna be a doozy. Oof, let me tell you, this is the longest ending we've covered yet. That's right, it's even longer than that Toe Jam and Earl 2 ending, and that was long. Tune in this week to find out what game I'm talking about. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.